And welcome, Flip Clock fans. The question came up as to how to take apart a Solari Udine Cifra 3, the modern version. There's a larger question also out there, is the modern versions less quality than the original Cifra 3s? Now, Cifra 3 is a Solari Udine brand. It's made in Italy. The way the Italians pronounce it is this.
Hello, Flip Clock fans. My name is Mario, and I'm a native Italian speaker. This is how you pronounce the name of the holy grail of flip clocks in Italian. Solari Udine Cifra 3.
So what I want to do is I want to show you how to take apart the modern version. These started coming out in 2015. We're going to compare those to the Museum of Modern Art version that came out in around 1995, and how to tell them apart. Then we're going to look at a more older version and see the changes here. Then we're going to look finally at the oldest version that I have, which I think is close to the original version. And we're going to see if we can answer the question, is the original a higher quality clock? So there is going to be some judgment there, and you're going to have to make your own decisions, but I'm going to show you what I find. So the first thing you want to do when you're taking this clock is, I'll just take a look here. See Solari Udine Cifra 3. You can tell that it is a modern clock by this label here. It's fairly straightforward on how to take it apart. You've got to, we'll show you first. You may know this. You've got minutes and hours. The minutes can be changed separate of the hours. Curiously enough, they use two different fonts, one for the hours, one for the minutes. And that's from the very beginning. So to take this apart, you just push the hours. We're going to hold it here and remove this screw. Once you've done that, it just pulls straight off. The next step will be to remove this screw here, which removes this piece, which is dovetailed into there. When you slide this out, you've got to be careful. The battery is connected into the circuit board here. So once you get it out about that far, we'll just loosen this up a little, and then it slides right out. So you look at the flaps, you look at the mechanism, and we're going to compare that. So that's how you take it apart, the opposite to get it back together. So we're going to look at this version here. I want you to notice something on the two versions we've looked at so far. This is from 1995. There's no markings on here at all, and only markings you have here are the hours and the minutes. So it is the same disassembly here. And once we'll look here at the serial number. Curiously, this clock was in rough shape. I did polish it up. I actually whitened it. This has been in storage, and this is how it came back out. Now you'd say, oh yeah, obviously you had it sitting in the sun this way. No, it's been in plastic wrap. Curious. I don't know if that's the way it originally was yellowed. I don't know, but the yellowing does come back. It's always a question, is that yellowing going to come back? There's other questions as do we need to keep removing it? Is it going to cause the plastic to be brittle? Those are open to debate as well. So you can see it's basically the same thing as the 2015 version. It looks like an exact copy. So from 1995 to the newer versions in 2015. I should just get another one out here. There's nothing's really changed that I can tell. So you look here and we're talking about basically the same thing. Now, what I've got here is obviously branded for a company. whoever that is. So already you see a difference. They have the Solari in the plastic. They also have the symbol for Solari Udine, the logo, the symbol there, the S with the flaps on it. Now to take these apart, these are the electric versions, not the battery versions. Try to get these together. Oh, another thing. You'll notice here there's no markings except for the tool markings. So we'll look at the difference when we get in here. The way you get these apart is you remove the base, which you have to do. Here we're looking at the serial number. You'll notice 217,044. So that'll come into play in a minute. We'll look at that. This is the 220 volt version, obviously. And a pretty big honking screw there, metal. I could have taken this off before. You see there is a screw there. Now I don't know if this is an original screw or not. It's plastic. You never can tell with these old clocks if someone has done some changing. I don't know if that was original to this clock. It works. Okay, so now this comes off. You'll notice something that that's why I said I could have taken that first. This doesn't have another screw to hold it in place. Also, curiously enough, it uses a general time motor running at 1 revolution a minute. So this is an older clock. But what do we see is, of course, because it's because this is electric, or maybe it's because it's a little older, it uses a different way to advance the minutes. This is, of course, the manual advancement. Here's the motor. This turns around every minute. There's a divot there. It's going to come through here. Once it hits there, it's going to turn that and advance the minutes. So that's how that one works. The reels, they are plastic. We were going to look, and you see here on the older version it says Solari Udine, Solari and Company Udine, made in Italy. That does not say that on the newer versions. Okay, so now there is going to be a slight difference in the older version, and I'll show you that in a second, to the way it's done. Okay, so there's that. The quality of the flaps, it just feels the same. I mean, I don't feel any difference there. Now we're going to go to the older clock. I've already got that apart. Here is the serial numbers 166737, made in Italy. So here's the plastic. I really don't see any difference in the quality of plastic. There again, you have the Solari there. It just feels the same. It just feels like plastic, whether it's that one or it's this one. It's just plastic. I don't see any difference in the quality. So in the end piece, same thing. It had a screw. This one happened to be a longer screw, a longer machine screw. So you got the symbol here and the made in Italy there. Okay, so once we get to the clock mechanism itself, we have the general time. So now you can start seeing some differences. There are kind of 2 plates here instead of the 1. And that change started here. So it's a difference in advancement, the way they advanced it. So you see here on the newer version, it's using a plastic gear that moves plastic here, and then you got plastic here. But in the older version, you've got a very similar thing where you've got this thing here, which happens to be metal, that moves the gear down. It's pushing, I don't know if you can see that. It's rolling around on this wheel. Normally, it's pushing down with this diameter. There's a divot there, so that when it hits that divot, it's going to release this arm, which has been held back, and push this forward. Things you're noticing here is the cages here are metal. These are metal cages. This is not plastic. So, and this is metal, gears on metal. The flaps, they feel exactly the same. They're very limber. So the quality of the flaps themselves seem to be exactly the same as you have here in the newest version that I have. Now I've just gotten that one out of whack. So we'll have to get it back into whack. But it just goes right in there. That's not going to be a problem. And this is the oldest one I have. So it just looks the same. Okay, the flaps are the same quality, but we're dealing with metal. We're dealing with gears that are metal on metal. So what's the verdict? Well, you'd have to say, and this works great, you'd have to say that the older clocks are higher quality, metal on to metal. So yes, the older clocks are higher quality. Are these functional and serviceable? Sure. These are definitely better than a lot of the clocks that are being sold, modern clocks today. So a Solar Udini that you buy today, which are very expensive, is going to be much better than some of the versions that you're finding online these days. Much better. So that's it. Yes, the older ones are better. That answers that question. So I hope we did two things here. We kind of answered a question about the quality, how to take these apart. Hope that helps somebody. Thanks for taking the time.